sleep in heaven. That's my imitation of like what a baritone would sound like. Doesn't sound like that probably because it's not my voice. What's up guys? This is Matt from RamseyVoice.com and I'm a real vocal coach and singing teacher. And today I'm going to be listening and reacting to the Pentatonix perform Silent Night live. I have to be honest, I'm not super familiar with the Pentatonix catalog, which is why I was so excited when somebody requested that I do this video. By the way, if you like this video, hit like, comment with the next song that you want to see me react to, subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel, or if you're ready to start improving your singing voice, check out my complete singing course, Master Your Voice. So today, I can't wait to check out what they do in this song, choir assistant directing experience. I am not a choir director by any stretch of the imagination. I have nothing but the utmost respect for the people that do that very, very difficult job and keeping track of so many different voices, so many different parts at a split moment's notice, being able to sight read lines and stuff like that. It's very, very amazing stuff. So not to say that I'm gonna be able to do any of that, but I do have the sheet music here, so that should probably help a little bit. Okay, so let's see what happens.
1, 2, 3. Silent night.
Ooh, yeah.
Holy night.
Is that weird? Is that weird that I had that weird, like, ooh, yeah. It was very, like, sensual. Sorry about that, everybody. That was just, like, a gut reaction. I'm sure everybody has that reaction when they listen to the Pentatonix start. It's just such a beautiful entrance, and all the voices are so balanced. Like, you'll notice nobody's dominating anybody else, and everybody's got their part right, right from the start. So far as I can tell, yeah, we're in the key of F, so that's helpful.
All is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin.
Love that virgin, virgin, virgin. It's such a beautiful blend of different voices. So the way that I see it working out so far, we've got the soprano on the far left, tenor, baritone, and either a baritone kind of switch to a bass or just kind of like two lower voices. But they do such beautiful work so far.
In mother and child, holy infant, so tender.
And what I think that's really cool about this is that even though we've got one mezzo or one soprano lead part here, the baritone and the tenor are staying in kind of a similar kind of treble area. So we're not too bottom heavy and we're not too top heavy either. We've just got a nice blend of different voices with those three voices kind of taking over the top of everything. And we've got just a little bit on the bass line right now. Let's see if that changes.
Sleep in heavenly peace.
Beautiful stuff.
Sleep in heavenly peace.
Ooh, I love that descending. Peace. I mean, that's so much clearer than sleep in heavenly peace. Just ending on the tonic. They're ending on what's known as a deceptive cadence when you end on the 4, da 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 da, and come down to the tonic or to the root chord at the very end. That's so much more interesting. Oh, now we've got the basses are coming in full force. I mean, I can't even get there. I'm such a high tenor. I think his name's Grassi or Grassi. He's more my guy right now.
Holy night.
Holy night, da da da. You know, I think that choir and a cappella music in general gets this bad rep that everybody's singing like the same thing, or it sounds like too unison or too blended, or for all intents and purposes, too choral. But what I think is really cool to point out about this is most of these people are singing different parts. They may be very simple parts, but together what they're doing is they're making chords with their voice. So rather than just having, you know, like we could look at like kind of like a descending version of like an F major chord where someone starts on the holy we've got a C above that. Holy night. Then we've got the F, or the tonic above that. Holy night. And all together, you get this very beautiful kind of sound. Oh, I forgot there's my B flat. And that's gonna make for such a beautiful sound. And a lot of people get really tripped up with harmonies. They're like, I can never harmonize. It's something that I could never understand or do. We're just talking about building chords out of voices. And every chord is basically built up of a first or a root note, a tonic note, a third, and a fifth in different orders. In other words, you can have the fifth down at the bottom and then the first and a third on the top like this, or you could just do it in order, first, third, fifth, or you could start with the third on the bottom and the first and the fifth above that. But that's what we're seeing. They're just making these beautiful chords in a key of F with their different and distinct voices. And the only time when you're going to see that doesn't really work so well is when your lowest voices, your bass voices and stuff like that, are singing something that's not the tonic of the chord that you're on. In other words, like these guys on the right here, it would sound strange if they were singing the third or the fifth rather than the tonic or the root of the chord, because then that would sound very kind of like dissonant, or would want to resolve into something different. So for all intents and purposes, the basses are usually carrying the bass line or the kind of chords or the melody of the song, and everybody else is doing fun little chords like on top of that. It's beautiful stuff.
All is gone.
Ooh, all is calm. And there I go again. So like, as soon as I said it, they broke the rules. And it's beautiful because that's not the tonic of that chord. Well, they made it the tonic of the chord, but not for what people tend to think of as the note for that. All is calm. He's basically taking the melody and turning that into the tonic of that chord.
All is bright.
Ooh, yeah.
Around your virgin mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild.
I also kind of want to point out something interesting, and I think that this is something that a lot of people when they're singing harmonies miss, is that you can kind of see when these different voices and their mouths are actually the same shape. And that's very interesting to me for a lot of reasons, but basically, even though a lot of these guys are singing in different parts of their voice, for example, like a baritone voice, like the guy in the middle, he has to sing like slightly more narrow vowels at the top of his voice than Grassy, the tenor, who can sing probably slightly more open because he's a higher voice type. Different from the soprano or the mezzo-soprano, who this is all basically just in the middle part of her voice. It's not like in her mixed voice at all. She can keep everything very, very normal. So even though these guys are singing in kind of three different spots in their voice, they're still optimizing their vowels to sound exactly the same. And that's part of the reason why it sounds so good. Like, just to give you a really extreme example, so like if I was singing in an F major chord again, and I'm singing ah, and the vowel is ah, I could sing an ah, and then on the F, I would have to narrow that slightly because that's in my bridge. Ah, 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 and then a G above that, or sorry, an A above that, which would complete the chord. But then ah, so I have open, ah, ah, slightly closed, ah, also slightly closed. But if I can get those vowels to feel and sound the same with other people, I've really got something, and I can really blend my voice together nicely.
Sleep in heavenly peace.
And I love that little round that he's doing, heavenly peace, that he's coming in after the other singers. That's really, really cool. And that's leading a little bit of rhythm and kind of like giving us some directions to go here. Beautiful stuff.
Sleep in heavenly peace.
And just listen to that tenor voice. Sleep in heavenly peace. Everybody has some room to shine here, but just the beauty of that light tenor voice. Like if you heard all of the other guys sing that same line, it would probably sound slightly different, slightly heavier, slightly thicker. Sleep in heaven. That's my imitation of like what a baritone would sound like. Doesn't sound like that probably because it's not my voice. But the tenor, the lyric tenor, it's so light, it's so beautiful up there. It's great stuff.
Sleep,
And this is cool too because the guy on the right, the bass singing here, he's getting that sleep. He's giving us a different kind of, it's almost like a bridge to the song that's not traditionally thought of as having a bridge in it. He's giving us a da 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 da. That's kind of holding everything down, and everybody else is able to build off of that. So that's super interesting. And this guy on the right, I mean, he's got a tenor voice as well. I mean, it's not super thick and super deep. He may have that capability to go down and stretch to those lowest notes in his voice and make them sound very resonant and full, but he's also got a nice higher voice as well. So this guy is probably able to do lots of different things with his voice. He could probably mimic some of the tenor parts. He could probably sing in the bass parts, and that's a very good voice type to have. I wish I had it, but I don't. I can't hit those low notes. Yeah.
Silent night, holy night, silent night.
So this descending silent night is not what we're expecting. We're expecting that silent night, like we're expecting it to go down, but they've actually created this kind of different kind of arrangement for those notes, so it almost sounds like it's on a different chord. Silent night, but rather than being under an ah, they're under an ah. Silent night,
Holy night.
yes.
Silent night, holy night.
Totally different. Man, and that keeps things so interesting. So overall, this is a phenomenal performance by the Pentatonix. I'm so glad that this was one of my first introductions to their music because I could just spend all day analyzing this stuff and looking at the music and learning more and more things about it. And there really is an art to putting together different voices in this way. If you were directing these 5 voices and you put one with a slightly different part or a part that didn't really fit their voice well, you would not be maximizing and optimizing the sounds of those singers. And it's super cool. I'm sure that these guys work with fantastic arrangers as well as have a phenomenal self-awareness of their own voices and have their own creative projects and understand music themselves. But at the same time, they have such fantastic self-awareness that they're able to kind of like self-select the musical lines that they're singing to really make sure that they're working with their voices the correct way. So overall, it's just a phenomenal performance. I especially liked the little surprise where the guy who can sing bass also has a beautiful high tenor voice when he wants to. And you could probably see that with all the singers, maybe with the exception of Grassy, who I'm not positive that he can sing super low notes, nor why would he need to? Why would he need to? He's got such a beautiful high tenor voice, and I definitely feel where he's coming from in that I also don't have those super low notes either. But I think that this was a phenomenal performance. I have to give it a 5 out of 5 stars. It was really well directed. They kept their time. They went and did different things and played on what our expectations of the song were and gave us something different. So I think that there's a lot of great stuff that we can learn from this. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to click like, comment with the next song that you want to see me react to, and subscribe and turn on notifications for this channel. Or if you're ready to get started today and improve your singing voice, check out my complete singing course, Master Your Voice.